Now we're gonna take some new lessons. We're gonna go to this Lucena position. Let's take a look.
Rook endings are the most common ending in all of chess. Mastering these endgames will allow you to win games that would otherwise be drawn, and drawing games that would be lost. The most important rook ending to first learn is known as the Lucena position.
Okay.
With white to move, we have the basic Lucena position, which is a rook ending where one side has a king in front of its pawn, blocking the promotion square, and the defender only has a rook. How can white win this endgame? White needs to move the king off the promotion square and then promote the pawn, right? It's easier said than done. If white plays rook e7 check, trying to push the black king away, black simply plays king f8, and white isn't making any progress. The only way to force the black king off the f-file and make room for the white king is by playing rook f1 check. If black plays king e6, white wins easily after king e8, followed by promoting the pawn. So black is forced to move to the g-file with king g7.
Okay.
Black's king has been forced away from the action, but white still needs to play carefully. Understanding white's next move is the key to the Lucena position. If white rushes to move the king out of the pawn's way with king e7, white will not have time to promote the pawn because the exposed king will always be attacked by the black rook. After rook e2 check, white's best move is to return the king in front of the pawn, correcting the mistake, and then using the Lucena strategy.
Okay.
If white plays king d6, rook d2 check, king e6, rook e2 check.
This is a good draw.
After king d5, rook d2 check, white's king is forced to protect the d7 pawn, and white isn't making any progress.
Right.
Since moving the king failed, what can white do? The key move in the Lucena position is playing the rook to the 4th rank with rook f4.
Cool.
What is the idea behind this strange-looking rook move? Notice the rook is 2 ranks away from black's king, so black's king cannot attack it. The main idea is to shield the white king from the rook's checks. Grandmaster Aaron Nimzovich called this strategy building a bridge. After rook c1...
Oh, am I missing something? Yo, Yummy, welcome back. Lucena from Fire Emblem? Oh, I had it down.
king e7.
Okay.
Once the king leaves the protection of the passed pawn, black's rook immediately attacks it with rook e1 check.
Okay.
And after king d6, rook d1 check, white must not rush up the board and forget the protection of the d7 pawn.
Okay.
So white plays king e6. If black doesn't check the king and plays rook d2, white simply plays rook f5, followed by rook d5, shielding the pawn from the rook's attack and promoting the pawn on the next turn.
Wait, what?
After rook e1 check,
Yeah, what about
king
this?
d5, and rook d1 check, we can now appreciate the strength behind white's rook
Oh,
f4
now
move.
we go there.
After rook d4, white's king is shielded from check, and the bridge has been built. White is ready to promote the pawn on the next turn. After rook f1
that
check,
is weird.
since king g7 lost to the powerful rook f4 move, what happens if black plays king g6 instead? With the idea of attacking the rook on f4 with king g5. Since the king no longer protects f8, white can win by playing rook f...
Oh? Just came to see if you were playing all stars, but no. No, like I said, we are given this this good membership session, 1 month free membership. So I want to take the most of it. In January, I just learn as much chess as possible. Just passes by. Yo, take care, Yami. Have a good one. Have a great weekend, and let's see if we can improve in chess after all this time, Yeah, there's a lot of privilege, exclusive contents about in this membership, so I want to make the most of it, which is why I was streaming chess for all this time. Well, who knows? Maybe after that we can play decently. I can keep playing, right? Have a good night, Yami.
f8.
Oh, we just go straight down.
White is ready to move the king away from the promotion square when the rook on f8 will support the pawn.
What is today's pog? What is this pog? Okay, this is one thing I don't get, you know. This is one thing I don't get about all other people's PogChamp. I just don't think they capture the essence of the original PogChamp. What is my PogChamp? Do you have my PogChamp? What is my PogChamp though, by the way? Do you have a PogChamp emo? The original PogChamp is this amazed. Is this amazed emote though? Expression. But all the other PogChamp is like just shocked. It's like this. It's like that is not PogChamp. PogChamp is like you gotta do this. That is PogChamp, man. The PogChamp is so amazed, man. What is my PogChamp? Let me try to find my PogChamp though. My PogChamp is much better than that. Oh, dude, where's my PogChamp though? There you go. Look at my PogChamp. It's not just that is so not PogChamp. you gotta be amazed. Is with this like happy, you know? It's like that is what I'm talking about. That is my PogChamp. I love my Pog version. Twitch, get that one, okay? Make that permanent. Yo, see you next time, Yami. Have a good night. I guess most people just see the small preview emote. That was like, oh, you just open your mouth, and that's it. That's not. I watched the entire the making of PogChamp like video. I see how he made that expression, so I mimicked it. So. Alright, so okay.
In order to prevent this, Black needs to play King G7.
Oh?
Can you remember the key Lucena move that shields White's king from checks and builds a bridge for the pawn to promote?
Wait, what? Is there one? Oh, so we move the so now we move this back, right? Okay. I guess that's the idea.
That's right, with rook f4.
Yeah, okay.
So that when White's king moves to d5, the rook can shield it from checks with rook d4.
Huh?
Do you have what it takes to win a rook and pawn ending using the Lucena strategy? Let's see.
Wait. Oh, the king cannot move to this far anymore. So we just do this. Okay. Oh, so it's gotta be this zigzag. This here, and then we use the rook. Okay. Let's go for the challenge. Why is this king so close to me? What the hell? Black's king on f6 decided to move to d6. f6? What? Oh, e6. Making contact with the white's pawn. How can white take advantage of black's king being on the e file? I don't know. We'll just do this, but the king can go there. That doesn't do much, right? How do we push it away? If I go there, I don't think the king will go this way, right? Oh wait, you can go there, and we just move away, right? We just move away the king. Oh wait, we just move here, and this rook cannot go here, right? And we just can promote. Wait, what? Stronger move for white to take advantage. Oh, what is this all about? Is this all of a sudden we just do Lucena? We do here? No, that's not what it's all about, right? Well, the king cannot go up. The king cannot go this way. So how can we take advantage of this? I guess we just move the king. We just go there. The king cannot go up, cannot go this way. Has to go down, right? Okay. And then we just promote, right? Oh wait, it's not. If he does that, if I promote and he does that, it's checkmate, right? What should white play now? I guess we drive the rook here. Is that like too aggressive? I don't know. Maybe we'll just go here and try to drive the king away. King goes there. It's a little bit too late. All right, now we go up. Black plays the more stubborn defense. King f7. Okay, here. Keeping the our kings stuck behind the pass pawn. How can we force the black's king away from the f file? Wait, what? Force it away. Well, I guess we just go there, right? Because the king cannot go. Well, the king can go here. Are we back to the previous example? Right? Okay, and now we'll do Lucena. It's probably gonna go here, right? Alright, so we're just gonna shield it, right? Here, 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 here. Alright, we got this. We got this. Let's play our first idea in the Lucena, forcing the opponent's king off the f-file to clear a path for our king. So it's gotta be the same thing here, right? We just do this. Go this way, okay. Well, if it goes this way, we just use our king to shield it, right? Actually, no. No longer protecting the 8th rank. Oh, we can go here, right? If we go there and the rook goes here. Wait, how does this work again? I kind of forgot. Then we just go there, right? Okay. I can win by moving the king to f8. Black's king's no longer protecting the f8. Yeah. Our rook has a strong option. Find that move. Oh. We just go there. Wait, is this what it's all about? Okay. Oh, it's trying to capture it. And then we go there. Wait, how does this work again? Wait, that's another one. Building a bridge on the 4th rank. Oh, it's back here! Oh, I'm dumb. I already forgot what's mentioned in the example. Alright, let's return to the position after we move our king to the e6 square. This time black doesn't check our king, trying to make things difficult for us. If black won't let us bring the king to our rook, let's bring the rook to our king to prepare for the rook block on the d file. So we just go here. Okay, and then we carry on, right? So black wants to see if you will play the winning Lucena move. How about go there? How about just go here straight up? We just do this. Oh. I think we just move our king then. Last one. How can white win in this position? It's no problem if we know the Lucena position. Let's first play the a8. Rook a8. Now we need to move our king off the d file. What is white's best king move? Oh wow. I cannot go this one, so... No, I'm not sure though. Move the king off the d file. Just go there? Wait, no? To prevent these checks, how can we plan to get our king to d8 without losing pawn? There? Okay. And then we go there? That is not right, then we lose it. I'm not sure. Like, how does this work? Threaten is simply advance the pawn and win. Okay. The black is forced to check our king. Where can we move our king to prepare the Lucena position? How can I block with the this rook on the corner? I have like 2 moves, right? So we're back to the beginning, you see. It's definitely not gonna be this rank, right? I'm not sure. Where can you shield your king from checks and be prepared to push the pawn to d7? Here, right? I'm still thinking about this, and after that, we're just gonna push the pawn. Oh, he's doing this. Okay. Then we just push the pawn, right? Oh. Oh, we set up the Lucena position. Okay, let me try this again. Interesting. So we'll move this away, and then we go here, here, set this up. Okay. Wow, but I have to rely on, oh, it has to be this scenario. Philidor position, let's go.
Defending a rook and pawn versus rook ending is no easy task. It's all too easy to get pushed to the edge of the board and find yourself in a hopeless situation, just like this position.
Oh,
it's black's turn to move, but unfortunately for black, there is no way to save the position. Black's king does block the promotion square of the pawn, but black's rook is way too passive. If black tries to activate the rook with rook g1, hoping to start checking the king, white can simply play rook h8 with checkmate to follow. White is threatening to play rook a7 with checkmate on the next turn. If black plays king f8, the simplest way for white to win is by playing rook f7 check, forcing black's king to e8. White now threatens checkmate with rook a7, when black's position will collapse. Are all rook versus rook and pawn endings hopeless for the defender? Not at all. In fact, if you know the Philidor position, there are good chances to save this endgame. Let's take a look. Even though white is up a pawn, has a strong rook on the 7th rank, and an active king, the position is completely drawn, if black understands the Philidor position.
Okay.
When defending this position, you want your king to be in front of the passed pawn, blocking its path to promotion. In the first example, black's rook sat passively on the back rank. This was the key to black's defeat. The Philidor position is also known as the 3rd rank defense. The key to defending the Philidor position is by moving the rook to your 3rd rank. In this case, by playing rook g6. The black rook is activated and prevents white's king from advancing. The idea is to force white to push the pawn forward, so white's king cannot move in front of the pawn. If white refuses to move the pawn and waits by playing a move such as rook a7, all you need to remember is to keep the rook on your third rank until your opponent pushes the pawn forward. So black plays a waiting move, rook h6. Checking the king does not help white, so after king e4, rook g6, and king f5, white's king desperately wants the rook to leave the 6th rank so white can advance the king. Remember to keep the Philidor position simple by staying on the rank with rook b6. Checking the black king does not help, as it will always stay in front of the pawn on e7 or e8. White finally decides to advance the pawn with e6.
Okay.
This is what black has been waiting to see. Now that the pawn is on e6, white is threatening to play king f6 and threaten checkmate. Only when the pawn advances to the same rank as the rook, and only then, black now moves the rook to white's first rank with rook b1. Now that the king cannot hide in front of its pawn, black's rook is prepared to attack the king with multiple checks. After king f6, rook f1 check, king e5, rook e1 check. Black's rook continues to shadow the white king with checks. After king d5, rook d1 check. If the king moves away from the pawn, such as with king c6, black's rook can continue to check the king, but the simplest move is to attack the pawn with rook e1. If white protects the pawn with the king, black's rook will keep checking the king. White cannot make any progress and the game is drawn.
Okay.
Since moving the king did not work, what if white tries to block the rook's checks by playing rook a4? After rook f1 check and rook f4, black can simply trade rooks with rook takes f4, king takes f4, and king e7, entering a completely drawn king and pawn ending. Let's take a look at one more example together. In this position, black has the option to check white's king with rook b1. Is this a good idea? After rook b1 check, king c6, white is threatening rook h8 checkmate, and black's king will have to give up its important defensive location, being on the same file as the